Hey guys, welcome back to Modern Golf. I hope you're having a great day and even better week. Today we're talking about kind of the second part of what we did earlier in the summer was the hottest golf equipment in 2024. That was kind of the spring and summer edition. So I wanted to kind of wrap it all together and the best of 2024 of equipment wise. And I'm not going to make this long, but we have a list of, I think, the hottest things that were discussed, the hottest pieces of equipment that sold, and really everything in between that we thought were the hottest pieces of golf equipment for this year. So we're going to not make this long. Again, I'm not going to go over stats and demos of everything, but we'll kind of just show you the hottest things for 2024. So first, we're talking about drivers, which is probably the most exciting topic for a lot of you. And really, there were two drivers that we felt had the biggest buzz this year. Certainly early on, I think it was Callaway and TaylorMade. I think as the year went on and people really went to hit clubs, two brands. Ping, the G Series, I think dominated, and if you go to any fitting place or like a Golf Galaxy, they'll tell you the Ping dominates that, and I think the Titleist GT Series has really come in strong late in the year. They're smart of the way they market their stuff, but really for drivers, those two lines were the best, and really the most had the biggest buzz for 24. Let's talk about irons. So irons, I think there's a lot of, and again, this is not to insult people. I play Mizuno irons, they're not on this list. So this is just feedback that I've gotten from manufacturers, PR people, really everybody in that world of really who has the buzz for this stuff. So irons, there was two brands that really stuck out still, and that's Tokomo or Takomo or Takomo, however you want to pronounce it, it's fine. And really their whole lineup of irons. And the other lineup, or the other area of irons, the brand that really surprised us when we talked to our friends at Club Champion and the people at Golf Galaxy and industry, let's say know-it-alls, were the TaylorMade irons, the P790s, the MCs, really everything they put out this year. There's a lot of buzz generated around the TaylorMade irons. So again, they're not necessarily my favorite, but again, this is what the industry is telling me. So fairway woods, I think it's the same topic. I think Ping dominates, and again, I play an old Ping one. And then also, if you haven't checked out the new Titleist GT line, I think are phenomenal. I also think the throw in there, beginning year of the buzz certainly was the TaylorMade, and also the Cobra Dark Speed. I think are great and still great. Just because there's a buzz about them doesn't mean they're not great clubs, but certainly those. Hybrids, I really think there's one brand that's dominated, and you talk to anybody, and that's Ping. If you have not hit a Ping G line of hybrids, I think they're the best in the industry, and not by far. I think there's others that are good, but Ping is definitely dominates, and dominates the sales metrics. If you look into the metrics of the sales of hybrids for this calendar year, Ping they're up there. I mean, they're the top for a reason. Wedges, I'm going to say there's really two, and not really brand-wise, but really the evolution. The full-face wedges, which I play, certainly TaylorMade has one, Callaway, Cleveland, there's a number of those I think are great. And I think the most recent buzz I've gotten is the new Callaway Opus, and I've hit them. I really do like them. I think there's something special about them. And then also I think the Ping's new wedges are really, really good. So for wedges, I think full face wedges are important. I really like them. I think it builds confidence, certainly around the green. It's super easy to hit. I love the high toes, but I think Callaway, TaylorMade, Ping are really, really good at those kind of wedges. So I think that's really the buzz for wedges for this year. Golf bags, God knows, who's reviewing more golf bags. So I would say there's a lot of buzz for a lot of different things. I think the smaller bags have really kind of jumped into the topic of conversation this year. From the small Ping Hoofer lights to, and I'm looking at my Sunday Golf, my Jones Rover, and I'll just bring this one over. This is one of my favorite bags that I've used all year. Absolutely love it. But again, a ton of buzz on this golf bag, certainly at the beginning of the year. And I think if you haven't had a chance to check out the Jones Rover, it's a phenomenal golf bag. Even if you don't walk all the time, just a great golf bag. But I think that segment, and I think some of the smaller bags, like what Sunday Golf does, or Ghost, or the true Sunday golf bags, where you're fitting 7 to 10 clubs in a golf bag, have really taken over. I think the high-end golf bags, we see Ghost still with one of the biggest buzzes. I think now that Vessel, and you're watching this after they've launched the Players 5, I think you're going to see them kind of I won't say take the reins back over, but people may shift a little bit back to the Players 5. We haven't seen a Players Edition version besides the Air since spring of 23, so it's been almost 2 full calendar years without an update, and which is fine by me. So I think those will be over. I think there's some really high-end golf bags. We seem to set the bar really high now with golf bags. And then card bags, it's interesting, they all kind of have a lot of like features. So it's really, people ask me all the time, like, it's subjective. I mean, listen, I can tell you the features, but I'm not going to tell you what you need to like. But I think those, so we've seen some really fun golf bags this year. Ping has had some limited edition, but for golf bags, I think it's the same as we talked about a little bit in the summer. Besides, I think the small golf bags have really kind of taken over. Now let's talk about head covers. So I'm a huge head cover fan. You guys see, and this is literally 10% of what I own. I'm a huge head cover guy. So what head covers do I really like, and who's got the buzz? I just did a little project with Tremont for personal, not for modern golf, for my personal. It turned out flawless, and we'll talk about that at a later date. So I certainly like what Tremont does. I love what Dormy Golf does. I love what Aces of Clubs put together. I love what really Van Nylen, and I certainly love Swag and what the guys at Hatch do. I think what Swag has done this year has been remarkable regarding opening it up for availability to get your chance to get a head cover, where I think Hatch and Tyson Lamb and some of these guys, it's so difficult to get one. I think they lose traction in the market by doing that. I think they need to find a way to kind of reinvent how they reach the market without, one, selling too many, because obviously then the demand goes way down, but then also not alienating a bunch of people where you can't get anything. So let's talk about ball markers, because you guys hit me up all the time. What's your favorite ball marker? I think there's 2 brands that I love. I don't own either, but I've seen and looked, and I have other friends who have them. Kraken, I think they make phenomenally good stuff, and I also think Tyson Lamb. I think Tyson Lamb is an artist. I don't own any of his stuff. I had a couple T-shirts and apparel years ago, but he's an artist. He is. Forget the putter part of it. If you look at like the trophies he does, or you know, anything he touches, the artwork, the ball markers, the divot repair tools, head covers that he puts together, he is an artist, and he understands the golf. He's a golfer, and he understands really his artistry, and he's phenomenal at it. So those 2 for ball markers, I would say Kraken and Tyson Lamb. High end, lower ends, I think there's some great ones. I think Swag does some great ones. Hatch has some really good ones, but they're not inexpensive. And then like Pins and Aces, a lot of these guys have some really cool head covers, really cool ball markers. Shoes, I think there's really, 2 things that I think about this year for shoes. One is FootJoy's limited edition runs. I just think they've done such a great job in the last couple of years of the designs, from the Todd Snyder to, you know, even the ones that aren't limited that just came out with in the Premier line. I just think their shoes are so good, and the price points are so good for that. And I also think, besides the Jordan line, the shoes that I like the most this year are the G4. And there's some other, listen, there's other shoe brands I like. Don't get me, this is not, but the buzz I get from people are G4. And when you go to a golf course, you see a lot of people with the G4 Gallivanters, a lot. I don't know if it's the top selling shoe. I don't know what those metrics are currently, but I see a ton of those. And that doesn't mean Adidas and Nike and everybody else doesn't have great shoes, but that's the buzz we get for shoes. Hoodies. I think hoodies, and the reason I threw hoodies on here, because I think hoodies has taken over golf. 5 years ago, you wouldn't see a normal golfer, God forbid, wearing one at a country club or at a nicer course, and now you see them everywhere. So 2 that I like, and one of them I'm wearing, that I wear this all the time, and this is by Linksole, and I'll put up the information. And the other one that I love, and you'll see at some point, I'll probably talk about these as well, are the new ones, the Thermo series from FootJoy. I am loving what FootJoy does. I think, I'm telling you, I've said this a million times, if I had $1 million, I could clear it out on FootJoy's website pretty quick. So for hoodies, I love, and I know there's other brands, you guys are gonna say, well, what about this? The ones I like the most are, again, Linksole and FootJoy. Hats, I think there's a lot of great hats out there, but I think if you really want the buzz factor of hats in 2024, there's one brand, and it's Melon. And I'm not saying other brands don't do great hats, because I think they do, but Melon is, to me, the Rolls-Royce, Mercedes-Benz of hats right now, where they're certainly not cheap, but they are one of those status symbol things. It's almost like a man buying Louis Vuitton stuff. It's, you know, I'm not wearing one today, but I like my Melon hats. I think they held up phenomenally well. I literally throw them into my washing machine in a mesh bag, and they come out like they're brand new. So for hats, we'll pick on Melon for today. Gloves and accessories. I mean, we've talked about the gloves. You can read our full review of all the gloves we like. But what I wanted to kind of shift this to is what the industry has done for gloves as a whole. I think very colorful gloves has been great. We've seen a lot of cool designs, a lot of great brands. But I think the segment that we're going to cover a little bit more later next year is the accessories with gloves. Asher, who's I love, and you guys see I wear their hats and gloves all the time. They have, and a number of brands, but they have a leather, I think it's called a glove caddy, that we'll review at some point. You guys may see it even before this review, that I love. And I love that accessory for the modern golfer. I just think it's cool. We've gotten a lot of buzz from people. I know North Coast, there's other brands that do that. Asher's the one I like the most. So we got one, but I think those accessories with the gloves have really taken over in 2024. The 5 biggest brands we've heard clothing-wise this year. Peter Millar is certainly up there. We had a lot of people ask us about Peter Millar. Radmore has got a lot of, we've done a thing with them early in the year. They've got a lot of good buzz going, which is fun to see. Melbon, it's probably been the most popular because of Jason Day and the Masters. I think Linksole is going to, I think, surprise some people, and I know they've been doing well, but I think they're going to surprise some people with their lines. I think FootJoy's clothing is really good. Dunning has some great clothes, but those are the ones that people kind of hit us up and ask us about. Putters. I'd be remiss to say Lab. I think Lab has dominated this year. I play a DF3. I loved it. I've shot my lowest rounds of my life using that DF3. Is it the most conventional putter? No. Is there a little bit of a learning curve? Yes. Someone had reached out to me recently and asked, can a beginner use this putter? Yes. I think this is what's so great about this putter. You don't have to have a great technique. If you can move your arms back, straight through, I think the DF3 is great. I think there's other putters out there that are good, but I think for 2024, I'd be a fool to say other putter brands currently in November of 2024 have quite the buzz like the Lab has had this year. Golf balls, I think there's really 2 that I think have really dominated. And one's a segment, a category, and one is kind of a particular ball. One is, I would say, the caricature balls, the golf balls, the little Doberman pinchers, the faces on them, or the sight lines. We've seen golf balls really, I'll just pick on, something like, a TaylorMade. And I really like these limited edition run golf balls. I love them, but I hate them. I just think it's a great, fun thing to collect. I'd hate losing one, but I think it's a very fun thing. And the other ball that I think has really dominated on tour, and really besides the standard, is the Pro V1X left dash. And I think if you've played that golf ball, it's so good. Hard to get. Again, we've talked about this with Pro V1. I think there's so many options now, you're not even sure which golf ball to use. I'm normally a Pro V1X guy, really the buzz that we get, and I've played it, and really it's that good. There's a lot of great golf balls this year, but those are the ones that really have the buzz. Shafts, I think there's 2. I think the Ventus still has dominated this year, and I think the Newton Motion is really kind of getting into that world. I play the Newton Motion. I also have a Ventus. I really like the Newton, and I'm surprised at how much I've enjoyed it this year. A really good shaft. I just talked to their PR people maybe a week or so ago, and now they're coming in half flexes, so if you go to a 4 and a 5. They haven't done 4.5 yet, but I know they're doing 6.5. I think it's 7.5. Maybe it's 5.5 and 6.5. Anyway, they're coming out with half flex, which I think is a genius move. They also have some other neat new things coming that we'll review here shortly. And lastly, and thanks for hanging in there, I know this was a longer list than we did in the summer, travel gear. Who makes the best travel gear? We'll do a whole separate video on that, but really the buzz that I've gotten this year are two, and I actually tested one at length, and that's Caddy Daddy. The other one that we are going to test, and you'll probably see her at some point, is the Sun Mountain that you guys have all said, you are out of your mind, you got to get a Sun Mountain. So we've got one, we're going to test it, and we'll come back at some point. So anyway, these are the hottest topics and the hottest pieces of equipment in 2024, both from a buzz side of things, but also really in a sales side of things. So really both those worlds coming together. So if there's anything you guys want to see, certainly in the end of 24, beginning of 25, let us know. Like I said, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for the amazing feedback we've gotten. We hit over 1 million views this year, which is really, again, I really appreciate you guys, what you've done. It's been an unbelievable year, and we're going to figure out a way to kind of celebrate that with you guys as well. But again, thank you for your time. Thanks for watching, and again, we will catch up with you guys next time. Thanks, guys.